Economic plan. Joining us now with reaction, GOP Vice Presidential nominee, Governor Mike Pence. Governor, how are you?
I'm great, Sean.
54 days to go, and you may be the next Vice President of the United States. You gotta love these polls.
Very encouraged. Tremendous momentum. Beyond the numbers, I just see it everywhere I go.
What changed? What do you think's different?
I don't think anything's really changed. I just think Donald Trump's optimistic message to make America great again, rebuild our military, have America standing tall on the world stage, and revive this economy through all the principles he described today at the Economic Club in New York, through less taxes, less regulation, more American energy,
that was a speech I think Reagan
stronger trade deals.
That's a Reagan economic policy. Maybe take aside the trade issue alone. Everything else is Reagan.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's not only Reagan, it's Kennedy. I mean, these were two different presidents who understood that you lower marginal tax rates, you roll back regulations, you get big government out of the way of job creators in America, and this economy will come roaring back. It did with John F. Kennedy. It did after Ronald Reagan. It'll happen again with President Trump.
And he's got two other resources available to him that neither Kennedy nor Reagan had, and that is America's vast energy resources.
It's incredible.
Coupled with new technology, horizontal drilling and fracking. I mean, you're talking about millions of high-paying jobs and careers.
That's exactly right. He talked about that today in that speech, and what really ending the war on coal and unleashing the boundless potential of the American energy economy.
He doesn't want to fire every coal worker and get rid of every coal company? That was Hillary. Oh, sorry, wrong campaign.
You know, I mean, it really is amazing to think that a major party candidate actually campaigned on promising to have fewer coal mine businesses and fewer coal miners. That's exactly what Hillary Clinton said.
See, I would argue I do see a little change in Mr. Trump in this sense. I think he's more on message, very deep substantive speeches he's given on policy. He's gotten away from distractions, fighting with a judge or whatever that could take his attention away. And I also think he's taken a lot of risks that have paid off. Baton Rouge, thought he did a great job with the Matt Lauer Forum. Going to Mexico, there's a risk in doing something like that. He's going into black churches, which I love because as a conservative, I've never liked this phony label that conservatives don't care about all Americans. I find that offensive to me. And I think that, coupled with a more presidential feel to him, he seems to really hit his stride.
Well, we'll take the compliment.
You're not going to agree or disagree?
I agree that in a very real sense, I think America is seeing this man for who he is and the kind of president he'll be more clearly today.
I've known him for years. He's more natural now, more the guy I've known.
Okay. All right.
Is that fair?
Right.
That's him. What we see now.
So you're saying it hasn't changed. It's just him.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's also combative, but I think he's adjusted for the political arena a little bit, but it's still him.
Make no mistake about it. This man's a fighter.
He's a fighter. There's no doubt.
And he's a winner. And everywhere I go, people appreciate that he can fight. But I think, to your point, what people are seeing when he went and met with President Peña Nieto.
That was a big day.
When he and I went down to Baton Rouge, and I saw him, just order the motorcade to pull over. He jumped out of the car, an unscheduled stop, put his arms around these families, walked into homes that were devastated by 9 feet of water.
It was shocking.
It was shocking.
It was, and the media ignored that story.
40,000 families out of their homes. And there he was in Mexico City, sitting with a leader in a cordial discussion with whom he has strong differences of opinion. There he was on the streets of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. There he is in African-American churches, showing his heart and his commitment to make America great again for everyone, regardless of race or creed or color or gender. What people are seeing is the kind of president that Donald Trump will be, and I think that's why you're seeing all the momentum, the turnout at the rallies, and all the momentum in all these key states around the country.
What do you say? Like, he laid out an extremely conservative agenda on the economy today. He has an extremely conservative plan. He likes originalists like Scalia and Thomas for the court.
You bet.
Education back to the states, energy independence, repeal Obamacare, replace it with free market solutions. His tax plan is conservative. What part of this alienates any conservative? Because you're as strong a conservative as I think I am, and I know people like the term nationalist populist, but the agenda itself is applying conservative principles to today's problems.
Well, I think conservatism is in a sense, populist. I mean, Ronald Reagan, I was at the Reagan Library last week and reflected on the similarities between these two men, and I think there are many. I mean, we all remember Ronald Reagan for his strong conservative principles and the policies that he advanced. But in a very real sense, I'm old enough to remember Ronald Reagan was in every sense a man who spoke straight into the heart of everyday Americans. They call that populism.
Reagan lived conservatives for decades.
Well, he
Trump kind of always knew it, but he's evolved politically, and people seem unwilling to accept that he now sees the answers based on his life experience.
Yeah. And look, I don't want to overstate it. They were two different men, two different styles, but I think at their core is the same understanding of what's made this country great. It's our freedom, it's our free market economics, it's our commitment to the Constitution, it's the arsenal of democracy, standing with our allies, standing up to our enemies. Donald Trump at his core just cherishes those same American ideals you and I cherish, Ronald Reagan cherished, and I think the vast majority of the American people
building up the military, building a wall, securing our borders, all add to that. How important are these debates, and are you ready?
I'm getting ready. You know, and I know my running mate is ready.
He's chomping at the bit, I'm betting.
Well, you know, and I honestly think he's going to bring a lifetime of experience to that stage. I think you saw that on another network
last week. I thought he did really well on that forum. You knew he won because every liberal was bashing poor Matt Lauer. Well, God forbid I have to defend Lauer.
Yeah, the overwhelming majority of Americans thought that he did very well. But what you saw there was someone who is confident, who's ready to lead. And I just think, you know, this election really does come down to just a few core issues. It's about national security. It's about prosperity. It's about upholding the Constitution in the Supreme Court of the United States. And it's about upholding the highest standards of integrity in the highest office in the land. On all of those things, Donald Trump is head and shoulders over Hillary Clinton. And I think that explains why you're seeing such tremendous momentum in this campaign.
Governor, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank
54 days to go.
But who's counting?
Who's counting? And up next tonight, right here on Hannity.
I don't know, folks. You think Hillary would be able to stand up here for an hour and do this? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Donald Trump casting doubt about Hillary Clinton's stamina as he now releases details